Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Paul Enos, CEO of the Nevada Trucking Association, filling in for Sam Shad. Today, we are going to be talking politics, the election, and what the future holds with Chuck Muth, president of Citizen Outreach. That's next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Fantastic cocktails and delicious food. It's a good time to eat. Over 500 hot slots plus electronic table games.
It's a good time to play.
Player rewards and big-time jackpots.
It's a good time to win.
Ooh, your good times at Tamarack.
I'm Mike Swanson, and welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Paul Enos, filling in for Sam Shad. Today, very happy to be joined by my friend, the president of Citizen Outreach, Chuck Muth. Chuck, thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, Paul, it's great to be with you. This is our first Zoom interview in our new studio here that we recently built that we're going to be using throughout the 2025 legislative session and do some campaign training for candidates. And so thanks. We had some technical difficulties, but got it worked out, and it's great to be with you.
Hey, you're looking great, buddy. So, Chuck, you were very instrumental in trying to clean up the voter rolls in Nevada with Project Pigpen. I talked to you. You were driving up for court hearings all over the state. Can you tell us what you were trying to accomplish and ultimately what that outcome was?
Sure. Here's the problem. This problem with dirty voter rolls has been around in Nevada for a long time, primarily because we're such a transient state with people moving in and out. Maybe the most transient state in the country. So that presents a problem in and of itself. But you could almost live with it until the 2021 session, when the legislature decided to automatically mail a ballot to every active registered voter. Now, when you've got tens of thousands of voters receiving mail-in ballots, at their old address, even though they've moved out of state, that presents a real problem. Potential for voting fraud skyrocketed. So 2 years ago, we started to look into what we could do to help clean up the voter rolls. And man, it was like peeling an onion, Paul. Every time we thought we understood one aspect of it, we'd find another part in the law that said, no, you can't do that. But this year, we actually finally got down. We thought we understood the law, and we had established a good working relationship with the local election officials. And we began submitting residency discrepancy reports in Clark County of voters who we had identified as having filed a change of address with the post office, no longer lived here, but were still on the voting rolls. And everything was going great until Secretary of State Cisco Aguilar's office last March issued a memo that basically discouraged the local county clerks and registrars from working with us, and suggested in his memo that we instead use the challenge process that's in state law. So we did that. At the end of July, we submitted over 4,000 challenges of voters who we identified had moved, had re-registered in another state, and in a couple hundred cases had actually voted in their other state. And these were all official government records, the official voter registration rolls and the official national change of address database. We submitted those the end of July, and then the end of August, Secretary Aguilar issued a memo telling the clerks not to process our challenges. So we went to court. Because the Secretary of State hadn't given us any guidance, directive, he wasn't working with us. Even though we reached out many, many times, they just refused to work with us, so we had to go to court. What that did, even though we ended up withdrawing the initial lawsuits, was it forced the Secretary of State to put down all of their objections to what we were doing and how we were doing it. So that was in September. We withdrew those initial lawsuits, and we refiled new challenges under a different section of the law 30 days before the election. And even then, they still objected and refused to accept the challenges over this. And here's the biggest problem, Paul. It's a definition of personal knowledge. Somehow, even though we had a volunteer go to the voter's door, knock on the door, talk to the current resident who confirmed that the voter no longer lived there, that was declared by a judge in Carson City to not qualify as personal knowledge. So it's a major problem in getting the voter rolls cleaned up that we're going to have to address legislatively in the upcoming 2025 session.
So what do you think the chances are we're going to be able to address this in a legislative session where, hey, the governor has veto power, but in terms of stuff actually getting out of the legislature, that's in control of the Democrats?
Yeah, I'm kind of maybe hopelessly optimistic, but I think that it's something that even the Secretary of State has said, everybody recognizes how important it is to clean up the voter rolls. But here's why, and I know that it's going to be a Democrat majority, and they're not generally predisposed to do a lot of election reform. They kind of like the system as it is. But what we found is there are, let's take just an assembly district. There may be a couple hundred Democrats who are currently registered in that district who have moved into a different assembly district. Now, the Democrats running in that assembly district would love to have them re-registered in their district so they can vote for them. On the other side, you've got Republicans living in that Democrats district who have moved out of the district that you would think they would want to have them properly re-registered in the other district so they can't vote in their district. So, and it goes both ways. I mean, Republicans have the same situation. That's something that I think both Democrats and Republicans should be able to come together on, knowing that having a clean voter roll, that only people who live in your district are allowed to vote for you in your district, is something that I think we might be able to find some common ground on.
Well, hey, I hope you're right. And, hey, hope springs eternal for some kind of a compromise on this stuff, because I know everybody was frustrated with how long it took Nevada to count the votes. Now, look, we look good compared to California and, some of the other states, but, still waiting weeks after the election, is really not. It's not how, before we had technology, before we had machines, I mean, you would know by the end of the night who won the election. So, that was 40 years ago when, you had people hand counting stuff. So,
yeah, probably the biggest change that would really, really help this, Paul, and you've been around this game for a long time, so you know how important words are in legislation. We need to change one word in the election law statute from may to shall, and that would really help fix this whole problem. And here's what it is. What we're using is the post office's national change of address database to identify voters who have filed a change of address but are still on the active voter rolls. Now, the law states that the county clerks may use that same database to clean up the voter rolls. All we have to do is, now that the technology is there and that database is so accurate and accepted as credible, if we just tell the county clerks and registrars, you shall use that database, we can show them how to do it. We've been doing it for a year now. We can help them do that. And if they want us to do it, we're happy to do it. I mean, we'll go quarterly into the database and submit to them who we've identified. If they don't trust us, all they have to do then is look at the same data, the exact same data, and then we'll be able to fix this problem really quickly before the 2026 elections.
All right, we are talking to Chuck Muth, President of Citizen Outreach, and we're going to be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Paul Enos. We are talking to Chuck Muth, President of Citizen Outreach. Chuck, let's talk about what happened in the 2024 election, the results. You know, there was a huge push here in the state of Nevada from a lot of folks in the business community to ensure that the governor still had a veto pen that worked. And a lot of us thought he was going to lose that in the state Senate, that the assembly was the play. He ended up keeping exactly the number he needed to sustain a veto in the state Senate, and being able to do that in the assembly by gaining one vote, getting them out of the super minority status, which they were in last legislative session. But a lot of folks are saying, well, hey, there was so much money and resources invested in these races. Hey, we should have done better. Why didn't they?
Yeah, and it always gets me in trouble, but I got to call it as I see it, Paul. Fortunately, we knew because of redistricting that it was going to be really tough to hold Heidi Gansert's seat up there where you are in Washoe County. Fortunately, Laurie Rogich just ran a tremendous campaign and unseated Senator Dallas Harris down here. So that was a wash. We stayed out of the super minority in the state Senate. But you're right, in the assembly, we had to pick up at least one seat. Dr. Rebecca Edgeworth did that. She flipped the seat that Assemblywoman Michelle Gorlow was in, and that got us out of the super minority. So that's good. We protected the governor's veto. Great, fantastic. But I'm telling you, we should have picked up 3 to 5 seats minimum in the state assembly. And, I may be an outlier here, but I've looked at the numbers and I've looked at the election since the result. And when you look at what a lot of those candidates did, I believe that there are legitimately 10 seats in play that Republicans could have picked up. And we could have been in the majority in the assembly. And people say, well, that can't be done. But that's the same thing they told Newt Gingrich before he flipped the House of Representatives back in 1994. So it's doable. I want to make sure your viewers know it is absolutely doable for Republicans, with the lines drawn the way they are, to get the majority before 2030, or at least in 2030, before they redistrict again. So what happened? It wasn't candidate quality. This was the best group of candidates. The governor's team Lombardo, recruited just a fantastic group of candidates, really high quality. So it wasn't candidate quality. It wasn't the voter registration. The problem is the consulting class. There are some consultants in this state who absolutely do not know how to run and win a down ballot race like a state assembly on a budget. You're not going to have $1 million to spend on an assembly race, nor do you need $1 million. In those 10 races, I think if you give me $100,000 and a top tier quality candidate and enough time, $100,000 could win those assembly races. We had candidates running for the assembly who had much more than that, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, and they still lost. It wasn't because of the candidate. It wasn't because of the district lines. It was because they ran a bad campaign. And I've said that when I do my campaign boot camps, I make sure there's 3 things that I teach right from the get start. It's not the best candidate who wins. It's the best campaign.
So what was bad? What was bad about the campaigns? What could they have done differently?
They run a political campaign. Some of these consultants run the exact same campaign for every candidate, and every candidate's different. Every district's different. The circumstances are different. And you have to understand, you're not running a political campaign, you're running a marketing campaign. To sell a candidate in a Republican majority district, all you have to do is serve up red meat and you're going to win that district. It's a Republican district. But down here in Clark County, we're looking at all swing districts. Almost all of them have at least a slight Democrat majority. And some a little bit more than a slight Democrat majority. The key is the nonpartisan voters. And I'm not saying that you have to be a moderate candidate, but you just can't run the same kind of red meat MAGA campaign in a swing district with a lot of nonpartisan voters that you would run in rural Nevada, for example. So you have to look at every race and every candidate differently and treat it as a marketing campaign, not just a political, you put them on an assembly line and you run the same mail pieces, the same messaging. You just can't do that, especially down here in Clark County. And that was the problem in this election cycle.
Chuck, is a donor, when I want to see if a candidate's working, the question I ask him is, how many doors have you knocked on? And that's always kind of been a metric. Tell me why that's wrong.
That is absolutely. Now, I always get in trouble when I say this. I'm not saying don't knock doors. But the days of, and I remember, and our friend Pat Hickey, this was probably 10, 15 years ago, he said something to me when we were talking about candidates and campaigns. He said, you walk, you win, you don't, you won't. That is absolutely not true. People do not. I can't remember a single candidate who's ever knocked on my door because it's gated and I got guard dogs. But I still vote in every election. You've got to go out and campaign modern campaigns today. I had a consultant back in January write that he did not believe in social media, did not believe in blogs, did not believe in emails. Well, look at what Donald Trump did. He went around the traditional campaigning and use social media to great effect. That's where it is. Elon Musk said, we are the news media today. And candidates need to embrace that. Twitter is really the #1 news outlet. People are getting their news more from Twitter and podcasts like yours, streaming video. That's where the campaigns need to be today. You can still knock on doors, but it has to be done strategically, and that's not the way these consultants are teaching their candidates or telling their candidates to do it. They're just saying, just go knock on doors and, introduce yourself and ask for their vote. That's not the strategic way to do it. And we just need to show the candidates a different, better way if they're going to be knocking doors, because we're killing them, Paul. You hear it. I know you've heard it too, every election cycle. Oh my gosh, I'm out there. I've used up 3 pairs of tennis shoes this week alone, knocking on doors. And if door knocking alone was enough to win an election, these candidates that lost, that should have won, they were knocking doors. They knocked the heck out of doors, but they still lost. even though they had a boatload of money in a lot of cases. So we've got to just really, and donors, you mentioned the donors, they need to spend a little bit more time before they give money to the candidates, finding out who's running your campaign. Do you have a written campaign plan? It's amazing to me how many candidates who have hired a professional consultant don't even have a written campaign plan with a path to victory. What are we going to do to win? The donors need to ask for these things from these candidates. And if they don't have it, they need to tell them, you got to go do your homework, come back with a plan, and then we'll talk.
All right, we are talking with Chuck Muth with Citizen Outreach, and we're going to be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
Story County is leading Nevada. Home of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, Google, Tesla, Panasonic, and other world-leading companies. Story County provides thousands of tech, advanced manufacturing, and logistics careers for Nevadans. We're diversifying and driving Nevada's economy and generating millions in tax revenue and billions in economic activity across northern Nevada. Story County is leading Nevada's future.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low, and our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way, because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We are finishing up our conversation with Chuck Muth, president of Citizen Outreach. So, Chuck, Nevada got redder. Really, you look at the registration kind of leading up to the election. What does that say for 2026?
Well, I'm glad you opened up with this because I was going to bring this up, Paul. This is another misnomer that people have, unfortunately. Those who aren't really involved in this business, when they evaluate whether a candidate is viable or a district is winnable, the first thing, and maybe the only thing they look at, is voter registration. And that's just not a true harbinger of what's going to happen. It's not how many voters are registered in the district. You really got to focus on projected turnout, because you may have more Democrats registered, but if Republicans in that district turn out in higher numbers, then it balances out. And I got some figures here. So look at the 2022 election for U.S. Senate. Republicans statewide were behind by 52,000 voters. And Adam Laxalt only lost by 0.77, less than 1% of the vote. Now, fast forward to this election cycle. We had Republicans were only down by fewer than 10,000, 40,000 difference. And yet Sam Brown lost by 1.65%. So it's not the registration. We've closed the registration gap considerably, but Sam Brown still lost by almost double the percentage that Adam Laxalt lost. So again, it's candidate quality, it's the campaign quality that we really have to look at, and that trickles all the way down to these assembly races. It's not just voter registration numbers. I'm not saying don't go register more voters, but turnout is going to be the key in 2026 because it's a non-presidential election year. So turnout automatically going to be lower. A lot of voters only vote in a presidential election. If Republicans want to flip these assembly seats, Their campaign plan needs to have a strong emphasis on turning out Republican voters who normally do not vote in non-presidential election years. You do that, that's the game changer. That's how you're going to win seats in 2026 that you otherwise probably wouldn't.
Yeah, and Chuck, the big race on the ballot is somebody who, both I've been very public and vocal about my support for Governor Lombardo. You have as well. I love that. If we said it, we'd have to bleep it. But Chuck, what do you think his chances are? Right, there you go. What are Governor Lombardo's chances of winning re-election in 2026?
I think Governor Lombardo's chances are excellent, but you never take anything to the bank. I'm really encouraged now. His campaign manager from the last time, Matt Brousseau, has been brought on to the Trump administration, so he won't be managing the campaign this time. But Joe Weaver, I was recently told, is going to be managing the governor's campaign. And Joe was instrumental in working with all of these legislative candidates in this cycle. He actually knows what he's doing. He's very, very good. So the Lombardo campaign is in very good hands with him in charge. I'm sure the governor's going to be able to raise all the money that he's going to be able to need. It's not going to be a slam dunk. Odds are he's going to be running against Attorney General Aaron Ford. He's been around for a while.
Yeah, he's formidable. I mean, he got more votes in 2022 than anybody else.
Yeah. So you don't take anything for granted. But I think that the governor this legislative session is going to have a lot to do with his reelection chances. The Democrats are going to try to hurt him. They're not just looking out for what's best for the state necessarily. They're going to be trying to sandbag him and create issues to use against him in the 2026 campaign. But he's got a good team around him that's experienced. They're going to make sure that they protect. They know that this is going to happen. And I think he's going to come out in very, very strong shape at the end of this session going into the reelection campaign.
All right, Chuck, so great to have you on the show. You have a fantastic holiday, and hey, here's to a prosperous 2025. Godspeed, buddy.
Hey, Merry Christmas. We can say it again. So Merry Christmas to you and your viewers, and give Sam Shad my best too.
Absolutely. We're going to be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
If you would like to rewatch this show, or if you've missed any of our other shows, you can go to NevadaNewsmakers.com. Have a prosperous 2025. Thanks for watching.